Welcome back. This is Part-Time Guardian. It's a pretty exciting time to be in Destiny 2 right now. There's a lot of new trailers dropping and a lot of hype. I'll talk about that in this video. Again, I appreciate all the support, and if you like the video, feel free to subscribe to the channel. So this has been a pretty exciting week to be a Destiny fan. In fact, the most exciting that it's been in a while. You have the Drifter in a new cutscene that was released this week, that he's coming in a ship that appears to be coming out of the derelict and going to Europa, again in typical Drifter style. It looks pretty cool actually, and having him be a main portion of a new season content actually is pretty exciting. You also had the Eris cutscene where she's also on an icy planet or moon, and she appears to be struggling against some sort of unseen force. So again, these two things seem to be coming to a head within the next season or within a DLC that's coming in the fall. So the interesting tie-in between the two is both are tied to darkness and light. Drifter, if you think about it, is running Gambit to generate darkness powers, but he still utilizes light from a ghost. Eris is tied to the Hive, yet she still utilized light all the way back to the Taken King. Also, Eris is tied to Marasav, again all the way back early in Destiny's history, and then Drifter is tied to the Nine, who are basically Jovians, which include Xur, and again they're all tied into Jupiter. Again, you kind of see where some of this is going. Looks like a lot of things are going to be happening around Jupiter. And which ice planet is that? You see it outside of Jupiter, so that probably means that's Europa. Europa was originally planned as something that was going to release as part of Destiny 1, but never made it. There's also Enceladus, which I'm probably mispronouncing, more than likely. You can correct me in the comments, which is home of the Deep Stone Crypt, which is also something that's been hinted that might be coming, and again is shown in art on an ice planet or moon. Or it could be both, you never know. Again, remember, Bungie said in the Vidoc originally for this coming season, early at the very beginning of Shadowkeep, that everything would come together and it would be like no time you ever seen in Destiny, which are pretty big words to speak, so I guess we'll see. Again, also at the end of the Shadowkeep campaign, we saw Eris cutscene where she appeared to be smiling when she found the darkness. Again, those little darkness, the Veil, which is the race that a lot of people have talked about. It was part of Destiny 1 originally, something that was supposed to happen and never did. So we saw that, and also there's a piece at the end of Taken King where again she appears to be doing something with darkness powers. There's a weapon she pulls out. We don't know if she's going to be doing something good or bad, so she's always been on both sides. Again, the same with Drifter. Drifter's kind of been the same sort of character. We don't quite know, is he a good guy, is he a bad guy, is a little bit of both, right? And I think that's where Destiny's going. And again, I think there could be some of the choice we had to make in the Drifter mission, where we had to choose between the Drifter and the Vanguard. I think that could play into this next again season. So the one thing we do know is that there is going to be a tie-in between the darkness mixed with light. Again, those are the keys to both Eris's and Drifter's characters. Again, they seem to be conflicted between which side, and are they good or bad? Sometimes they help you, sometimes not. They're almost more of neutral characters, right? If you think about traditional Dungeons & Dragons or something like that. They're not good, they're not bad, they're kind of in the middle. In fact, at the end of the Shadowkeep campaign, you also see a mirror guardian, right? That looks to be a guardian made out of darkness. That's a mirror to you. And that the darkness is saying that they're the way to your salvation. Again, if you see the theme, it seems to be coming together. Is that where this starts? Is that where this kind of comes together? Is Bungie actually going to put the story together and complete it? I guess we'll see. So with that backstory, what does that mean for the coming season and the content coming up in the future? Well, in Taken King, we received an entire new subclass tree for each class. If you look at Eris in the trailer, she appears to be pushing into either something that is some sort of pure form of light, or she's utilizing her own form of light in that way. A fourth version of the subclass tree is something that's been theorized within Destiny for a long period of time. If you stand near Ikora Rey at certain ports of the game, she would even talk about that she was getting bored with the existing ones and would be interested in a fourth one. So it's something that's always been kind of thrown around. One thing that could be interesting is it an ice subtree? Now, I know that's easy. It doesn't necessarily fit with everything in the game, but it would fit with what we're doing, right? It would fit with the tone and the locations we have. But I do think that that's very likely that we could see something like that. But we also know that the Almighty is potentially hitting the tower based on some video evidence that we've seen where people going into glitched out versions of the instance, which again could be bugs, but that appeared to have pieces of the tower missing, which was interesting. And the place that the pieces were missing was actually between Eververse and the direction of Zavala's spot in the tower. We also know that Lance Reddick has also been doing quite a bit of voice work. He's been on Twitter talking about it. So is this the coming death of Zavala and the Vanguard? Because if Zavala falls, we already lost Cade. If Zavala falls, he's sort of the key portion of the Vanguard kind of holding everything together. Ikora is more independent, so don't know what would happen with her, but maybe that's what that means. Are we about the split of Guardians between light and potentially dark subclasses? Again, with the Vanguard not being there and not having the control over the Guardians, you might see a little bit more of that. And remember, there's an early cutscene of Felwinter in the tower with the Almighty coming closer, and that ties into other things. Is Rasputin going to potentially let a portion of it hit the tower? Because again, he's trying to get rid of Felwinter. Somehow Felwinter's been has come back or something like that. There's all these loose ends that Bungie has to tie up at some point. So it'll be interesting to see if they kind of execute on that. What we do know is Destiny in the seasonal models always put their strongest content right before a DLC. Again, if you think about last year, we got the Menagerie, we got Crown of Sorrow during that time period. It was actually a really great time to play Destiny. One of the reasons they do that is because that's right before the DLC comes out, and they want people kind of supportive of what they're doing. So the DLC piece of the seasons between those kind of get a little bit light, and that's what happened in the last seasonal model. You had a strong season, 2 weak seasons, and a very strong season. So it's very likely we're going to see something that comes in close to the fall expansion. The reveal is also happening 1 hour before resets, which is really interesting. So you would either do that because you want to, there's something in the reveal that's going to show you something about the upcoming season, and you want to kind of hide that until people come in. So there could be that piece of it. It could be for other reasons. It could be because of content and how they're going to stagger things between the fall and beyond. It's also clear Bungie's been diverting resources away from other seasons to work on something else. And I know some of that's their new IP and things like that, but they're a big studio. They can probably do both those things at the same time, especially with the money they got from NetEase. So I wonder, again, if what they've done is they've actually put a lot of effort into some of this content that's coming up. Again, that's why some of the content we've had recently is while I've enjoyed it, it's been a little subpar, right? And I think even Bungie would acknowledge that. So what would that mean for the seasonal model? Well, one thing is it could go as typical. We have a larger season. There's some additional content. We have fun. We do know that there's some sort of PvE mode coming in because they talked about that for Redacted, that there was some sort of new PvE mode. So we do know something like that's happening. So it could be a larger season. And then in the fall, you get Europa or the other planet, other moon, sorry, and you get some classes, right? So that could be a possibility. Another possibility is we get it now. Because remember, they said it's like no other time in Destiny. Well, that means they could be doing something completely differently because they already know the seasonal model doesn't work. So that's a possibility. It could be that we're getting this content now, right? At least part of it. And that some of it we're going to get later in the fall, right? That could be another possibility. You get maybe the social space now, maybe some classes come in the fall, maybe they split things out a little bit. Who knows? However, one thing that is interesting, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but the PS5 launch, I do think, could change things a little bit. Because with the PS5 launch, obviously, the PS5 is going to be backwards compatible to the PS4, right? We all know that. And so you'll be able to play Destiny on it. However, one of the great advantages going to the PS5 is that you will have more memory, faster graphics. You'll have a lot of things where they could put more things in, because obviously the PS4 right now is limiting what Bungie can do with the game, right? It's pretty clear. Because of content and things like that, they're running into constraints. So maybe the PS5, maybe that changes some of their strategy a little bit. If they want to put something out for the PS5, right, they want to give you something else you could do, it's possible that they're going to release all of this content now. So in other words, release all of it now. It's all part of the season. You don't have to pay anything additional for it, right? That would be very risky, but as a possibility. And then maybe there's something bigger going on. It's not the fall, but there's something bigger going on in the Christmas time to make you want to purchase something for the PS5. So again, we'll probably know all of this coming up, but With the PS5 coming, I just wonder if that changes some stuff for Bungie. Again, may not, just stuff I'm kind of talking through. Either way, I think we're going to get all of these things tied up and all the content. It's just how are they going to stage it together? How are they going to put together? How's it going to get released? And Bungie's very, very clear they're going to change the seasonal model going forward. So how do they do that? That's the stuff we really need to understand. So again, I guess we'll see. Next week on the 9th at 9 a.m. PST or noon Eastern, we're going to see what they have coming. And then an hour later, we're going to get the content, basically. So again, it'll be interesting to see how they stage all this. And expect to see additional coverage here, and we'll put out some videos once we know a little bit more. So again, that's the video. I really appreciate the support that you guys have given me. We've been growing by leaps and bounds. You know, one of the reasons I put these videos out there is for part-time guardians who don't have the time to check into all the details in the game. I kind of pull all those things together. So a lot of things I've talked about have been on Reddit or Twitter or other places, and I want to put a video where we can kind of talk about all the different things that potentially could be coming together. So that's the reason I do the channel. Hope you appreciate the video. If you do, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you Guardians in the tower.